Kuje Chairman has told residents to leave APC or leave area council.
People were clapping after he said that. I remember when the senator Fadahunsi said something similar to that, and he said, any accord member that you see, just kill them. In that same video, when Senator Fadahunsi said that, there were people who were cheering him on, clapping for him and things like that. So it's an aberration, really.
What baffles me is the effrontery, it's the guts, it's the, I don't want to use the other word that is coming to my mouth, but it's that audacity to say these kind of things when you know you are on record, when you know there's a phone somewhere, there's a capture, there's a voice recorder, and you still go ahead to say these kind of things. Kuje Area Council Chairman Danjuma Ashekolo has told residents to support the APC or leave the council, which has sparked condemnation from different quarters, Amnesty International, human rights activists, and a lot of persons. But before we go into the conversation, we'll just check a footage now and take a listen to how it happened right there in Kuje.
In my area council, it's either you're doing APC, yes, or leave the area council. You know why? I cannot have minister and president doing for us what they are doing. Then on the day of election, you now come and say you want to match me. I will not do it. I will not do it. Is either you are with us or you I have said in my area.
Of course, that's well, some will consider it funny, but I'm not so sure that it's funny. And I think one of the things that really baffled me was the fact that some persons were clapping. Anyway, but just let me get us into a brief of that story and how it came about. After he said what he said, he made remarks in the video like we've seen now. He said residents should not oppose the APC after benefiting from development projects under President Bola Tinubu and the FCT Minister Osun Wike. And he went on to also question why residents who benefited from government projects would support another political party during elections. And so his comments really have drawn condemnation from different quarters, Amnesty International, which he described the remarks, for example, as a threat to residents' freedom of association and political choice. So that exactly is the conversation. But to say this is new is not so true, except that at a time like, sometimes I think that what baffles me is the effrontery, it's the guts, it's the, I don't want to use the other word that is coming to my mouth, but it's that audacity to say these kind of things when you know you are on record, when you know there's a phone somewhere, there's a capture, there's a voice recorder, and you still go ahead to say these kind of things. I wonder, even if you want to, because I know some conversations can be had within the confines of your influence, your circle of influence, you might say some things that you might not be so proud to say when the whole world is watching. But the fact that these are leaders, because of course he's a leader too, the fact that they come out and they are not afraid of what people would say, they are not afraid of the camera, pointed at them, they are not afraid of anything, and they feel like they can just have their say and have their way. And I think just the same with Senator Fadahunsi, also a lawmaker once mentioned something that should not be said. That is an inflammatory comment. This is again another one. To say I should leave my house or I should leave the area I'm living because you want me to support you. I don't know if our leaders know that there's what we call the freedom of expression. I have a right to associate, I have a right to stay even in anywhere I want to stay in this part of the country. I mean, these are things that should not even be, because it comes to me, it comes across as you giving people ultimatum to say, if we don't win this election, then this local council would not have peace. Because those are the unintended consequences of what you have just said. You can't just make a statement that it's either you vote this party or you leave the area council. If you're telling that to your child, that's okay. If you're telling that to your wife, that's fine. If you're telling that to people in your compound, maybe that's okay. But if you're telling to a local council that's under the federal government or that is under the geographical map of Nigeria, then that is wrong. People have a right to choose. People have a right to decide that even if this as a particular party is doing the best, I still don't like them and I'm not going to vote. It's their right to do, right? So to now say that they benefited from the project, now again, my problem, when we say these kind of things, it's almost like they say it like the government is doing something that is it's its own in the sense that they are bringing money from their own pocket to do stuff. If I'm benefiting from a project that the government is doing, it's because I have every right to benefit from it. Taxpayers' money, Nigeria's money is what they are using. Nobody's using his personal pocket money to save Nigeria or to make Nigeria better. There's no presidency that can boast of saying, okay, so I've withdrawn all my accounts just for the progress of this country. We understand this is not a thing. So why would you now say it as though anybody who wants to now vote is in the favor, or should be in the favor, or should, you know, just be in solidarity with somebody because they have done what they are supposed to do in the first place, right? If I benefited from the project, I don't have to vote for you. If I see that it's a choice, so I have to decide. You don't give me my choice, you don't make my choice for me. And I think that's where a lot of persons will say, this is not exactly the right way to go. But I do not like this personally, and I hope maybe you'll come around to say something else about this, and probably just debunk some of the things, and maybe twist it like they used to twist that we don't mean that they should kill them, but they should kill them with votes. Maybe these are the kind of things we'll get to see.
Let me start from where you saw. I don't see this chairman apologizing to Nigerians or even to people who stay in FCT. And then I think you mentioned something that people were clapping after he said that. I remember when the senator, Fadahunsi, said something similar to that, and he said, you know, any accord member that you see, just kill them. And he went on national TV later to say, oh, I said kill them with vote too. And then it was like, I know Yoruba language has tonality, right? But then we are not fools. Nigerians can actually interpret whatever it is that you said. There are people who understand the Yoruba language very well. So I'm just trying to say that in that same video, when Senator Fadahunsi said that, there were people who were cheering him on, you know, clapping for him and things like that. So it's an aberration, really. And then I also remember that in 2023, you know, towards the election period, something similar happened. A man, a popular person, was in Lagos and telling people, it's either you vote for APC or not. You have no right to vote for somebody else. But then, according to the Nigerian constitution, no organization, no political party can determine where a Nigerian should stay. You cannot tell somebody that if you don't vote for APC in this area, then you have no right to stay in this place. No. And then if at all they enjoy the privileges, the roads that you construct, it's their right. And that's why I say that we need to get to a point in this country where politicians will no longer include construction of roads in their manifestos. Because, I mean, that is what you are supposed, it's your responsibility. It's not a big deal. People are not even supposed to, yeah, they will celebrate you and say, oh, well done, but there is not really something that you now tell them, okay, if you don't do this for the APC, this and that. See, this same chairman that is saying that, who says he cannot leave APC next year? Because I want to believe that El-Rufai, you know, did a lot for APC. He supported President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. As a matter of fact, he was very vocal about it. He was very loud about it. But he left APC. And that same man who supported APC, supported Tinubu, came out and said a lot. You know, even on national TV, part of the reason why he's, you know, in prison today. So who says you cannot leave? Reno Omokri said a lot about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now he's in the same party, you know, working for that same party. You know, many of them, like Daniel Bola, who says you cannot leave. So if you cannot even assure Nigerians of your loyalty to a political party, how dare you tell Nigerians not to, if they vote for another political party, they should leave the place or leave that environment because of the roles that they are enjoying? I don't think it's the right thing to do. And then I think Amnesty International also came out to condemn this. But then, beyond the condemnation, can we see more? Because this same Senator Fadahunsi that said something before the election, on the election period, he still says something, you know, that people were still wondering what is going on in this country. He was walking around for somebody who made that kind of statement. Yes, he was invited, but then we are not really saying something tangible. He's not faced the consequences of, you know, whatever it is that he said on that day. So if people do not face consequences, I bet it with you, this can become a new normal. And it's sad. Why do you think the United States is saying Nigeria will still remain a country of particular concern? It's because of certain things that they can see. Not because people are being killed on a daily basis alone, but because of the situation of the country, the kind of things that people would do, you know, all in the name of I'm a politician, nobody can hold me. And then looking at that video, do you even think he was afraid to say the things that he was saying? I don't think so. Because he knew that people were going to record him and post it. So I don't know whether these people want to incite fear to say we are firm about this if you don't do it. I believe there's a way to actually talk to people, you know, with respect and still be firm. Don't tell people if you don't vote for APC, then leave this place. No organization, I repeat, under the Nigerian constitution can determine where or a person should stay. You can decide to move to Maiduguri tomorrow or Zamfara if you have the mind to do it. Nobody will question you. once you have the capacity, you have the fund, you have the resources, you can move. So I think it's a total aberration. Something drastic must be done. People should not just come out and make statements because they are politicians and then because they are members of the APC, they think nothing will be done. I don't know. APC it's just a political party. And then if you say certain things that are not right, you should face the consequences of your actions. Until then, I think Amnesty International, yes, we like the fact that they are coming out to condemn the statement, but then we need more. We need actions, beyond the statement, releasing statement to say, okay, we condemn this, don't do this. No. We need people to start facing the consequences of their statements.
Now, I think what you said is profound, because even maybe just down the particular write-up that they released, they also mentioned that the police should be involved, that the police should run an investigation into this. But what do you say to the case where a federal lawmaker in the country, a lawmaker in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, made an inflammatory statement, and all we got was he was invited, and the next day he was out there while the election was going on? He even made some comment too, but maybe not inflammatory, but he was saying like if anybody would not vote, they should not have vote, they should have all of that, and he's still roaming free. So if a senator can say this, how much more, or should we how much less a chairman now? Because this is now it trickles down, because it's always a thing of, there's a Yoruba saying that you militia assessor, that's Iroko tree, that you prune Iroko tree when it's still young, because when it has grown to a point, you won't be able to trim it again. And that's a thing in the country where a federal lawmaker says something that looks like it's breaking the law and there's no consequence. A chairman will find it easy to do, and tomorrow who knows who's going to say next, because obviously too, the president was quoted as in one of his remarks recently that he said all is fair in politics, and that statement might not sound so much, it might not be like something to look at until you look at the nuances inside that statement. Because just like you can see, if he says that, okay, so everything is fair, so everything is fair in politics means war is fair, fighting is fair, vote buying is fair. Does it mean that? Because if you have, as a leader, there are certain things to say and there are certain things not to say. In fact, there's a way to say everything you want to say, because you understand you're a person of influence. You are wielding so much influence on people, and whatsoever you say can become a command. I can suggest, just say, okay, my opinion is this, and then it becomes a command, and everybody goes for the hunt. You just say, so as a leader, I think there has to be a way to say, if you want to make comments, you should know how to make the comments, because you understand that people are listening, and some of the people are listening are not at the educational level at which you might be speaking from. They might not be at the pedestal at which you are communicating from. So you have to make it explicit, make it very clear, lucid, clear and vivid. Nobody should have a saying, okay, maybe the president meant that we should now fight because everything is fair in politics. Wait, okay, so someone said, when you see any Accord Party member here, kill them. And then you came about to say, I meant kill them with vote. Why did you not say kill them with vote when you mentioned the first thing you said, right? And these are just nuances that might not mean so much, but eventually it means so much, because when you look at the current situation in the country, we don't want this kind of comments. The election is fast approaching. We understand you guys have an interest to win, which we understand. And I think I also like the fact that you mentioned that who knows what will happen tomorrow. Shekonlo might leave that party tomorrow, and probably, so what has he done? He has confused a lot of persons, right? To now say that you want people's solidarity to be linked to a particular party, I feel like as a leader, I don't think it's right. You can tell your constituents, maybe just tell them when you're speaking to them, but don't say it like if you don't, then there's a consequence. What's the consequence? You leave the council. Are you okay? It's not your father's council, for crying out loud. It is the federal government. It's Nigeria, and these people are Nigerians. They have every right that you have. You are just privileged to be in a position of authority. You are just the chairman. Who knows? Maybe one of the people you are talking to might become a president someday. And so if a chairman can say that, so this is what I want. I want a rebuke from of course, the lawmakers, the security formation, the architecture should speak to that. And I also want the APC chairman, and then we want that the national chairman to also make a comment about this thing, or perhaps call these people to order, because it seems like it's coming from their party. It's always one APC person. There's Senator Fadahunsi APC, there's Shekonlo APC, there's every other. It's like if you don't speak to them now, you are giving them liver, like we say. You are giving them more audacity to come out again and say something, and we don't want those kind of things, right? Because some would say this is going to bed. They are dropping the dust. They don't want to raise the dust because they are the party in power, right? So if they are not a party in power, maybe some would say, why would you say such? But now they are in power, so they can say anything. And I think it's wrong. I beg to differ. It is very wrong for you to make such inflammatory comments when this country, of course, like we say, it's a sovereign country, and we should. So that's why a lot of persons are calling for investigation, external investigations about many things in the country, and we seem not to have our head to wrap around it easily. But I'm saying that we need. If he's not going to give an apology over this, we need the national chairman of the APC to call every one of these people. We understand your interest, we understand your motivation and your intentions to win. We understand that that's okay, but you cannot, at the expense of the people, at the expense of peace, at the expense of national unity, at the expense of living in a place where you're supposed to live, now puts Nigeria in jeopardy. We don't want that to happen in the country, and I think we are looking for every eyes is on this particular situation. We are hoping for something best, something very good to happen from here.
Exactly. And just to conclude, I want to believe that we've seen certain persons, commoners in this country, or let me say politicians who belong to the opposition parties, when they say certain things, they pick them up, they get arrested, and then in no time, like sometimes it's not even up to 24 hours, sometimes after a few days they get arrested and things like that. So how come it is different when it comes to APC politicians? I remember that Senator Adams Oshomole a few years ago said, when you join the APC, your sins are forgiven. And then it's not really far from the truth. So how come when a commoner, says something, makes a statement, and then few weeks, or let me say few days later, he's arrested because of that same statement. But then when a politician, or let me say when a member of the APC, should say something similar or even something worse, we don't get to hear anything about it. As a matter of fact, the APC will not even speak about it, only for maybe to throw jabs at other people who are making, who are saying, okay, that thing that you said is not right. So it really does not make sense to me. Let's draw the line. Let there be a balance. So when a member of your political party makes a statement that is not good for the nation, that can actually put us in jeopardy, that can cause violence, address it. Not even as, okay, you are the ruling party now, but because this person is a member of your party, address it on time. Because if people do not face consequences of their actions, do you remember that Sowore called President Bola Ahmed Tinubu unprintable names, I think a few months back, and then I think the court told him to delete the tweet on Twitter and then apologize and this and that. Sowore was standing on business to say, but Reno Omokri said worse to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now he's serving with the same administration. How come nothing was done? And then it was a good argument, because even his lawyers were able to argue it in court, because that's a very good point. So if nothing happened to that same man, and then he's not the only one. Other people said, Daniel Bola said a lot, unprintable names. They called the president unprintable names, but nothing was done. At the end of the day, they were welcome to the party to work for the party. So if something like that can happen to commoners, to people who cannot even afford lawyers, you pick them up because they say certain things. How come your party members work freely after saying a lot? There should be a balance. Politicians should be examples to the nations. Not even encourage them to actually do things that are not good for the nation.